Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. You know, one of the things you talk about, and we talk about on this program, is leadership, and leadership that goes along with those events we don't expect, but they're challenging. We have a big fire that was in southwest Kansas, and it happened mid-February, and it spread across southwest Kansas County, 300,000 acres in total, and winds, crazy type of fire that spread across everywhere. Several firefighters were injured, and our guest today was right involved with the whole process. Ted Bush, who's the president of the Wichita Firefighters Union. Ted, welcome to our program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, if that didn't get people kind of halfway interested in what's going on, we weren't in most of the areas that will be watching this. We're not right in the middle of it. We've been involved in some fires in the past. 300,000 acres. That's a big chunk, and that was a tremendous fire. Tell us about the fire itself and how that spread.
Well, like I said, we had sent wildland firefighters from Wichita to the area, and when we do that, we know that it's a big fire. So anytime you have dry conditions and high winds and a fire, it's time is not on our side. So it takes so much coordination and so much area to cover. So it is a serious situation when those fires spring up. A lot of people think it's just grass. Well, it's not. It runs into towns, it runs into homes, it runs into farms, it runs into equipment. So those are important fires, and so it's a special fire when that happens.
So you have communities you talk about. A fire starts heading towards your community. You don't think about that, but houses are close together. Asphalt shingles blow from house to house, and they're like little fire bombs blowing across the town. All of that can just be catastrophic for a community. And it's also for a firefighter to be right in the middle of that. We know a couple of them were injured, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I want to find out about you. How did you get involved with firefighting and become the president of the Firefighters Union out of Wichita?
Well, I was just like anybody else. I kind of wanted to. That was kind of what I wanted to do, and almost 35 years ago, I signed up, waited a while to get on, and finally I got the phone call one day when I was at work, and I quit that job in a couple of days, and before I knew it, I was in recruit training and training to be a firefighter. So I was on for 30 years. And toward the end of my career, I decided that I think I could be the union president. You know, I just had an interest in taking care of firefighters. Obviously my experience throughout the years and what we kind of go through and what I think needs to happen to improve the lives of firefighters, improve their working conditions, improve their pay and benefits. I just had some ideas. So I ran for union president. I snuck by a couple of votes, and the guy I ran against is my vice president. We're great friends. We work together well, and so that's how it came to be. I decided to retire, and I was still the union president. And my thought was, why can't I continue to do this? I love taking care of firefighters, and so there was nothing stopping me from doing that. So that's how it happened, and I'm still here.
I want to say thank you because, you know, you don't realize firefighters, it seems like, you know, there's not anything happening until something happens.
Correct.
And you really never know what that next danger is going to be for a firefighter, whether being inside a building with something collapsing, you know, all those sort of things. And it doesn't necessarily work like it does on television for doing that. The process for getting firefighters to Southwest Kansas, how does that process work? And then we'll talk about the injured firefighters and kind of what the union does to help them and their families.
So they get the call, basically. I'm not exactly sure, but it's through the state is they're deployed. They're basically deployed like any other, I don't know, any other military unit, you know, and when they know there's a big fire, they're put on notice, basically, that you could be deployed. When that call comes, the firefighters from here in Wichita that are specially trained in wildland fires, they will go get their equipment and they're assigned to an area of the state and off they go. I mean, that's just how it is. They coordinate with the commanders on scene and they're placed right in with the rest of the units from all across the state. And so all the small fire departments, they all work together to put the fires out, and Wichita just goes and assists. I mean, it's pretty much that simple.
Can they all work together well? Do radios work? Does everybody coordinate, or is it, you take this fire, I'll go to this way? I mean, how does that coordination work?
Listen, obviously there's coordination problems, communication problems, but look, you just kind of work through those when they come up. They're all professionals out there, and they're, so I know there's always coordination problems, but you do the best you can. You learn from those things, and you make it better the next fire. I mean, that's basically all you can do when you have communication problems or coordination problems. But someone's in charge, someone's in command, and it kind of tears off of that. That's why those wildfires are so tough, because it's such a large area to cover, and it's moving so fast. So it's not a easy situation. Those are hard fires to fight. And so, but we got great firefighters here in Kansas, and they did a fantastic job.
Well, you had a couple of firefighters that were injured. Can you give me an update on those two guys?
I have not heard. The last I heard, they went home pretty quickly after they were here. They were stabilized and got to a point where the doctor felt safe that they could go home, and they took them home. So we got a call from someone out there that a couple of firefighters were coming here into Wichita for treatment. And I had another member of Local 135 who called me. He took the reins. I just assisted him in anything we could do. We assisted the family in some car, Walmart cards, so they could buy any food they need. We got them hotel rooms, just any support that they need, because they don't need to be thinking about those things when they're here out of town. They don't know anybody, here in Wichita. So, my membership they're just such fantastic people. And I just was so proud of them, because we had somebody stay with the family the whole time, in case they needed anything. So we had someone with them constantly while they were here.
Well, you say family, it sounds to me like the whole firefighting group, whether it be part of the union or part of those in help fighting, it is a firefighting family out there.
100%. You almost feel helpless. You want to do more, and but no, I was just proud of the two members that helped them out. And we also, I don't know if you also saw that we had an opportunity to take one of our ladder trucks and take one of the patients, one of the firefighters who were injured son in the bucket, raise it to his window so they could see each other, because he was in isolation because of his injuries. And so, I mean, what a great thing to do. I mean, what a fantastic moment for a son and his dad, and so we were so proud to be part of that. And so that's what we do with each other. If it happened to me and I was out there, they would do the same thing. So that's what we do.
I like where there's a will, there's a way to get father and son together that way. But what a fun ride!
Fun ride
up there
It was a great moment for them.
So, are there other ways the community can help?
I don't know. We haven't heard much, so I think they're doing well. Of course, they're firefighters, and they don't like to ask for help. So you may not hear from them, and we understand that. And but we just like to let it known that if you do need help, if you have to come back for treatment, if you have to come back to Wichita for some reason for this, let us know. We'll be here with you. We can help with rides or, whatever you need. And so we haven't heard anything. So I'm assuming that things are going great, and they're well on their way to recovery.
Well, I read there was a Wichita Firefighters Charitable Fund out there to help. How does that fund apply with this same process or help?
So we have a Wichita Firefighters Charitable Fund at Wichita Local 135. It's not our fund, but we support the fund with funds and fundraising and things like that. And it's what it says it is. It's just a fund to help firefighters in need. And so this was a perfect opportunity when they had to come to Wichita. We got a hold of Wichita Firefighters Charitable Fund. They have a board. We told them what we'd like to do. The board votes on it, and bam, we get the money, and off we go. And so that's how we got them hotel rooms and a couple of Walmart cards so they could pay for their own food or whatever they needed at the time. So it's that simple. It's that quick.
This sort of thing makes me happy to be in Kansas because of this type of thinking. That fund is set up under Wichita Firefighters Charitable, which is wfcfund.org. And so if somebody wants to, they just feel it in their heart that they'd like to help firefighters, what a great place to go and do that.
Absolutely. We have a big fundraiser here in Wichita every year. It's called the Wichita Cups versus Axes, where police and fire box each other, and all the funds that we split that into 3 charitable funds, and one of them is the Wichita Firefighters Charitable Fund. So it's our that, and we have 25 guns for Christmas raffle, and so yeah, we have ways to fund it. We also give coats to one school every year. Every year we pick a school, and every student gets a new coat. So that's through that fund also. So there's a lot we do through that.
Is there anybody in the world that doesn't want to ride in a fire truck?
I tell you, some days I couldn't. I was on for 25, like in my 25th year of a 30-year career, and there were times I said, I cannot believe I get to do this. This is so great. And so, yeah, no, everybody would love to ride a fire truck.
That's the fun part of the job. I want to take a break and come back and just talk briefly about maybe what we learned in this fire in Southwest Kansas. And because you mentioned earlier, we kind of learn as we do all these different things. So let me take a quick break. I'll come back. Our guest today is Ted Bush, president of the Wichita Firefighters Union. Be back after this.
Since 1776, the United States of America continues to stand tall. It's been tested before, many times. Through grit and the ability to move forward, we create better tomorrows. We help our clients live their best lives to and through retirement. We make it easier. Thank you, Kansas. Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Forward Ever, leading in challenging time. Nothing more challenging than a 300 square mile fire. And you're responsible for helping get it stopped before it reaches towns, before it reaches homes, before it reaches livestock. All those things. What a challenge that is. And our guest today is Ted Bush, who is the president of the Wichita Firefighters Union. Ted, we talked about the fire. We also talked about you learn from everything. What did we learn from that fire?
From what I understand, there were some communication problems. That's really all I have heard, that there may have been some problems or communications, and how to communicate with each other, and also obviously the communication is so important because you got to know where everybody is at. You can't lose anybody out there. And I'm sure for commanders, that's got to be on the highest priority, is knowing where everybody is at. And so that's the only thing I actually heard, that there might have been some communication problems. But again, you're going to have problems at every fire. No fire, I don't care if it's urban, if it's out in the country, no fire goes perfect. So that's why you learn on every fire. What could I have done better? What could I have been faster? Every fire is a learning opportunity, and there's no perfect fire.
Yeah. Otherwise they wouldn't happen at all and do that. So thank you for joining us today, Ted. The Firefighters Union there, and firefighters across the state, we don't appreciate them until they're right there putting a fire out for us or helping protect our community. But I have to say thank you for what you do, and all of those that are part of the union. But frankly, any firefighter in the state,
Absolutely.
Thank you for what they do. Appreciate for your time. An extended retirement, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, it keeps me busy, right?
That does. Well, be safe out there, Ted, and thanks for joining us on our program.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Ted Bush has been our guest. He's the president of the Wichita Firefighters Union, and he's been our guest on Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. The program is brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, where you can live with confidence. I'm Gary Shorman.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.